we are going to look at tracing, creating Nurbs lines. I have my assets already created, so we're going to use that. For the sake of time, I do have my top view, and I'm going to place that in. So what I want to do here is I want to move this and line that up to the center. So I'm going to go to transform, my transform tab. I'm going to go to move, and in my snap tools, by the way, this is Rhino for Mac. So for those of you using Rhino for PC, you'd have your snap tools at the bottom of your screen. But for Mac, we do have that on our left side. So what I'll do is I'm going to snap to the meat section. You can see it actually highlights that. And then I'm going to also turn on my grid snap. And you could see that I have absolutely snapped that asset, the blueprint, to the middle and the 0 coordinate points of my x-axis. This tutorial is just to show folks how you can place your blueprints inside your Rhino workspace and then trace. What if we wanted to just say we wanted to run that to scale, and let's say I wanted to do 100. I'm going to use my line tool, establish a real dimension. This is 100. What I want to do is I'm going to move this into a separate layer, and let's just name this layer as dime real, and I'm going to right click, change object layer. And if you realize, if I toggle the light bulb on and off switch, it's now currently in the layer dimension real. I'm going to lock that down. I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to go to transform. My scale tool, I want to go from here to this point, and I'm just going to move my cursor, and now you would see that it's 100 millimeters. We do have all our assets, as you could see, well calibrated, and we really don't need our dimension real. So we're going to retitle this as center line, and if I expand, you would see our line type. If you click on that, you just want to switch that to your center. It provides the standard visualization of that center line. Let me select that, move that now into that layer, and you could see the line type shows already that center, and I would lock that down. What I now want to do is I want to prepare the transparency or the opacity of my blueprints, so that when I am working on, I could see my lines. Why? This is the problem. So for a quick demo, if we did not reduce our transparency or increase the opacity, what happens is I am trying to trace this line right here, and because my default color is black, I barely can see what's going on in this line. I barely know where that line is found, so we got to take care of that. So what I would do is I would now create a few new layers and then title them. So this would be my side reference side. I'm going to select my side reference, place that in there, close that out. This is reference front. So I'm going to title that by clicking on that and just type it in reference front, right click, move that in, and I could close that out just so that I'm also double checking that I have the right layer with the right asset. And right click new layer. I do have reference top, and I haven't yet placed that in there. So select the asset, right click, change object layer, and there we go. So we do have this four reference layers. I am going to click, hold on my shift, and that enables me to select all of it, and I'm going to move that as sub layers so I could turn that off in one click, turn that on, deselect specific layers when I need to. I'm going to click on that layer, go into my property menu. Again, in my Mac, it's found on my right. Same with the PC, but you might see a few differences there. Pretty small, pretty subtle. I wouldn't be worried about that. So here we go. Object transparency. I'm going to increase that. This was 66. You can double click that and let's type in 70. And I'm going to go there, double click that, and I'm going to type in 70. So here we go. And so that's one little tip, how to place and take care of your transparencies or opacity. Now, the beauty about having a parent layer is I could turn the lock button on or off on the parent layer, the reference, and that would affect all the layers underneath that. What we want to do is go to our curve tools tab. You can always use that, type it in, work from your standard tab. Rhino makes life super easy, and right here I'm going to again simply just pretty casually, uh, that is a 3-degree curve, and you could see I am absolutely not on point. So what I want to do is you're going to turn on your show objects control points. Otherwise, I would refer to that as your edit control points. So I turn on my edit control points, and you could now see I could nicely fine tune where the line needs to be based on the blueprint. I'm going to lay out a couple of lines. I'm obviously going to just do a couple so you could see how I am doing that, and then speed up the video and actually jump a few places and then just show you what my line work would look like when I am done. I absolutely find this process to be pretty relaxing. So you could see that's what I am doing right there. So there we go. Getting those lines in place. So I want to bring that down a little bit there. Again, just kind of. And so what you could see, because I aligned that, it's right at the center. Now in my front view, I'm seeing both the front and the rear. So what I can do is just turn off my rear reference asset, and that helps me focus best. So here we go. I'm going to take that line. I'm holding on my option key, and I'm making a duplicate of that line. So you have that, but you can see in my blueprint, I am off from where I need to be. So what I want to do is I want to, again, always follow your blueprint. So what I'm going to do is I want to keep the same line quality, line type for this surface. You could tell it's the same surface running all through that front top hood. So I'm going to go to transform, rotate, and I'm going to anchor that right there. Oops, let me turn on my snaps. I'm going to turn on snap. So I've turned on my end near point. I really don't need my midsection turned on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here, anchor that there, and you could see as I snap and turn off right there, I want to line that up with my blueprint. So I am a little bit off in my front view, and so we should take care of that right away. So what we want to do is now, again, I turned on those control points so I could edit those curves, edit the control point curve. So I am left to right selecting as opposed to right to left. If I do that, I would select all the lines. So left to right and dropping that down right there. I'm going to drop this down right there. And what I really want to do is go back in, and you begin to see in your front view, you're getting pretty close. So this is where we were before, and this is what would happen. So I'm going to go to both viewports so you can see what is going on. If I drop those lines, you can see it starts hogging the blueprint, and that's literally what you're looking for. And we are outside here. We want to move that backwards a little bit. So what I always typically look for is I look for where there's some room, and you could see I'm going to just move that back right there. And so I'm getting that. Oops, I think I inadvertently moved this, so I'm going to move that up back into place, and I can move this up into place. I inadvertently moved some of my control, I think, when I was doing the example. So there we go, just making sure I could match my blueprint to the, and there we go. So I do have now just a little bit of I'm going to move that in my top view slightly right there, making sure that I could see all. And beware, usually the blueprints, they could be a little bit of a pixel variation in terms of its thickness. Now you got to also watch out. You can see there's a little indentation right there, and as time goes on, there are tools for us to work with that to make sure that it's a nice smooth line with the curvature comb. But that would be for another tutorial. I just want to quickly, again, for the sake of this tutorial, quickly show how to walk in your line. So you could see I do believe that's a nice feed. I'm just going to adjust that just slightly right there, making sure everything is lined up, and I believe it is. And there we go. We do have our lines being carefully placed. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do a couple of those, just the line work for the front hood, and then we would see how we would use those to create simple but yet very beautiful, elegant surfaces. So I'm going to speed this up and jump back into showing you the tutorial. So this is how we're going to put in some lines throughout the vehicle. So I have laid out my lines. We began with this two, and if you look at my references, let's turn off the rear since we're not really looking at the rear, and we can maximize our front view. You could see how I am tracing those lines in both the top, the front view, and also in the right viewport. So there it is. I'm going to go on and create a layer in which I am going to be placing um, my my curves. I also added the wheels. That just helps ground the design, as you could see. What I like about this way of working, it makes your world pretty simple. You can turn off all the layers, you can turn on the layers you want, and I usually work from my default. So let's go to surfaces, and I'm going to use my network of curves. So I want to start with this, and you could also see how my network of curves was organized. And if I do enter, you could see I do have my loose position, tangency, and curvature. On this, I'm just using position, which is just hitting the lines where they need to be. I'm not using tangency or curvature. What I would want to do, oops, I forgot one little connective line here. So this is the beauty about doing things in real time. You get to miss a few things. So let's go in and I could place this would be, and I got my snap to near on, and so this I am also placing a line control there. So let's continue. Again, I got four sides in many directions, so I really can have a ton of fun and keep checking to see what I need to do. On this, I'm going to use a surface edge because I would love to work with on my D, the D segment. I would love to hit tangency right there. So it's a smooth, absolutely seamless surface. You could use curvature. That also could do the beauty. So if we go in under our surface analysis, I want to use my zebra analysis. You're going to see how the line flow right there is going on pretty well, really nice. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We want to make sure that our flow is going well. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, and if you don't have this folder, you would find that in your libraries. So you see I don't have it. Usually the default, you don't see that in. You just want to go down under your setting, voice library, and you're going to have this. I would go with a glossy paint, and I really love this avocado glossy. I really love that. And what I would do right here is go into render, and I start liking what I'm seeing right there. I'm going to switch back into my ghosted mode, and again, remember to save your work. And so what we want to do is I'm going to maximize this, and I'm going to use my surface tools again. So what we want to do here is go to our surface tools again. I want to go with surface edge there, and I'm going to go with curvature right there. I'm going to save my work, and I'm going to go to paints, glossy. I want to stay with the same paint work, and what you'd want to do is again check for those zebras to see how that is flowing. You don't really want to get a pinch here. Let's just go ahead and take care of that. It's just a matter of 2 seconds. So what we would do is we're going to delete that surface. And the way I put in my lines, they're all nicely continuing, flowing all the way down. So in this case, I would try a couple of things. So I'm going to go again with my network. Right there, I'm going to do that edge, get that line, come down here, and I am going to work with this constraint and see what that does for me. And so you can see it distributes all of those pretty nicely. And on A that would be a position tangency, but I'm going to push that to making sure that we got curvature. So this is one continuous surface. So definitely you could see it took us just a few seconds to create a much refined continuous surface. You remember right at the beginning I said, oops, we had to quickly fix that. That's important, and this is why. So what I'm going to do is I am going to work with this surfaces. I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to create that, and I have a beautiful connection right here. Every other thing is position, and then I'm going to create another one, and that should also, I believe, take care of some of my inaccuracies and things. I'm going to let the computer help me out. And so you see there's a little warble right there, so let's go back to position. Got everything to position. I always like beginning with placing it in position, and I want to push that on A. I want that to come up so I can see if I go with curvature, it actually creates those bumps, but if I do tangency, it's absolutely good. So I'm going to work with a tangency there, which is absolutely okay. And let's turn on our analysis right there, and you can see my zebra analysis much better. What this also does is that it gives me a four-sided, so I got this edge right here, I got that going down there, I got this, and I got this edge right there. And so now I got that surface working. So again, same process, but this time I'm going to change the parameters to, so we've got positioning and all of that. I'm going to leave C in position. I'm going to switch B into tangency, and I'm going to switch D into tangency and see what goes on right there. Let me go back into position. So we got C, and I want to do B right there and D right there, and let's see that. So there we go. And I want to see what that gives us. Much better control. Look at that. Absolutely much better. Let's take off these lines, and you can see it's a little line that we put out there. We could take that out and place it into curves. So and then again we can let me save my work and see if I turn on my curves, if I turn on my references, I should see this going on. I'm going to go into render mode right there, and same would be for all of this. And I'm going to lock down my wheel layer, lock down my curves layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer called surfaces. And why don't we just select all this beauty right there and place it inside our surface. And let me use my ghost mode there. I'm going to turn on all my layers, and I am going to lock down everything except for my surface layer. And so if I select just what I did in terms of surface and I go to transform and I want to use my mirror tool, I would turn on my N which stays on, click on that, hold on my shift key, and I'm able to perfectly mirror that to the other side. So what we have here should look like this, and you can see the reference in all its viewports. You should be able to just quickly play around and get a sense of what you're doing. Using your line, a network of lines, it's a beautiful and easy way to get yourself quickly appreciating what your curve structure network could look like. So what I'm also now doing is I'm just going to, I love using uh, a dark gray background, and the reason I do that is just gives me a beauty. So I'm going to do the same right there. I'm going to, with the exception of this line, so with the exception of my central line, I am going to do the same. I'm going to mirror this right around right there. And I just start building up a beautiful network. Let me actually just take a couple of minutes and quickly do some more line work, and then come back and we could wrap this up. So here is what um, the line work would look like. But it's really good, really fun stuff. Really, well, I hope this helped, and see you around.